it's interesting you asked that because that's one of the two most common questions that I get asked when people are trying to figure out why I am the way I am with regards to happiness and positivity. The one you just asked, have I always been like that? The second question is, what moment happened in my life? What event happened in my life where I turned things around or I made this decision? And it's almost as if both of those questions are looking for easy answers, or answers that fit into how people think and believe. For example, your first question on, was I always like this? And I'm not saying you're doing this, but it seems like other people who ask, was I always like this, are kind of trying to discount it. Hey, some people are just naturally positive and other people aren't. Some people are just always happy and other people aren't. And if they're not that person, then basically they're out of luck. That couldn't be further from the truth. And the second one with regards to what happened in your life that all of a sudden you decided to be this way, or that you have to hit rock bottom. And I don't believe you have to hit rock bottom either. So let me answer those questions for you. Was I always like this? No. It's been so long that I really have to think hard about how I used to speak, think, and behave. But I remember I used to ride what I call the roller coaster of emotions. If the weather was nice like today, I felt good. If it was gloomy, I literally felt almost a little sad. Someone was nice to me, I felt good. If someone was mean to me, I felt not so good. If someone was nice to me, or if something crazy like my sports team won, I was ecstatic. If they lost, I remember literally being devastated because the stupid sports team lost. I was riding the roller coaster of emotions every single day. And it wasn't like I had this moment where I hit rock bottom or this moment that was jarring. It was, I guess, if there's such thing, a gradual epiphany. And the epiphany was life-changing for me. The epiphany was I had spent most of my life, I'd almost say wasted, but nothing's a waste. I spent most of my life, to that point, over 40 years on this planet, allowing how I felt emotionally to be determined by outside forces and other people. That wasn't going so great. So I literally decided to take control. I'd heard all the motivational stuff, happiness is a decision away, stuff like that. And I guess I kind of agreed with it like most people do, but it didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me because just because I had made that decision, nothing really changed in my life, the decision to take control of how I felt emotionally. I'm not saying I can control the world. I'm not saying I can control what happens to me. Bad stuff's going to happen all the time, and make no mistake, I won't say bad things, but significant challenges are going on right now, like they're going on in most people's lives. Short-term financial challenges, relationship challenges, health challenges with you or people you care about, business or job challenges. I mean, have I basically included 90-something% of the challenges most people go through? Right? Health challenges for you or someone you care about, short-term financial challenges, relationship challenges, business or job challenges. If you can remove all those challenges in your life, which you never will, you have a pretty good life, right? But most people allow those type of situations or other people, and the people could be family members, spouse, friends, neighbors, complete strangers. That's the craziest thing I used to do, which was allow complete strangers to determine how I felt. So I made the decision, but that I realize now was the beginning of my journey. It wasn't the end, because it's not just going to change overnight. However old one is when they figure this out, if they ever do, took me about 40 years. I had developed this kind of like track record of behavior on how I spoke, felt, believed, reacted to what was going on in my life. So that was epiphany number one. I was allowing outside forces, outside events, other people to determine how I felt emotionally, and that wasn't going to happen anymore. And the second one was, and this is something that I don't know if I've really heard it anywhere, spoken by all the wise people out there, all the motivational gurus or this and that. I've never heard it stated like this, and that is, the day that I discovered that happiness is a skill, that's when my life changed. Happiness is a skill. Now, it's not just a skill because I say it is, and when I say that to people, most people agree, but it doesn't really sink in. So, backtracking just for a second, what does happiness as a skill mean, or how can I prove it? I can prove it by sharing my definition of happiness. Not happiness. My definition of what a skill is. So my definition of a skill is and I've never looked it up, I probably should. My definition of a skill is anything that you can learn, improve, and maybe master is a skill. By definition, I think. Right? If you can learn it, if you can improve it, if you can possibly master it, by definition is a skill. Now, everyone knows that there are certain things that a person can do to feel happy at a moment. Maybe they have a happy experience. Maybe they see something that makes them happy. Maybe they remember something that makes them happy. Maybe they write something or speak something or hear something that makes them happy. Those are things that typically make people happy, right? There are things you can do to be happy, or at least happier. So it's a skill. So if it's a skill, and it is, and if, we'll take another half step back. And I don't know if this is the case with you or anybody else, I think it is. From the moment that people are born, I believe until they leave this planet, everything they do, for the most part, everything they do is driven by the desire to feel good, or at least better, or be happy, or at least happier. Don't you think that's the case? And even if it's to help somebody else, why would someone want to help somebody else? Because when they help somebody else, they feel better. You can always go a few layers deep if it's not the number one reason, and eventually get to, we do things because it makes us feel good, or at least better, be happy, or at least happier. Right? So if that's the case, everything we do is to feel good, or at least better, be happy, at least happier, and happiness is a skill, wouldn't it make sense to invest more, how about some, but more of our time on developing the skill of being happy? And that's what I've been doing for the last 9, 10, maybe 15 years, but definitely 9 or 10, consciously and focused and disciplined on developing my skill of being happy. And what do? Nothing fancy. I speak positive words. I see positive images. I think positive thoughts. I put myself in positive situations as much as possible. I always search for and find the positive in a person and or a situation. And my first question is always, what am I happy and grateful for? Had an accident a while back. Happy and grateful that no one was hurt. Happy and grateful that I had insurance. Happy and grateful that all is well. I'm happy and grateful, even though it would ruin most people's day or week. Go to the extreme. Somebody very, 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 did I say very, very close to me passed away. My mom, as a matter of fact. And because I had been doing this for so long, almost preparing myself for that moment, for that day, my immediate thoughts went to what I was happy and grateful for. Happy and grateful I was her son. Happy and grateful she was my mom. Happy and grateful that she was no longer in pain or discomfort. Happy and grateful that she was in a better place. Happy and grateful that she positively impacted so many people's lives. Happy and grateful. Happy and grateful, happy and grateful, happy and grateful. And I could go situation after situation after situation after situation of challenges that I have had, that I have and will have, and my immediate step, reaction, will be to search for what I am happy and grateful for and focus on the positive. And it's just a choice. It's a choice, but it's a skill. And it's a skill that if I do it over and 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 over again, then all of a sudden that becomes my habit, my second nature, my autopilot. And that's what I do. That's why I have positive words everywhere around my house, in my pocket, in my car, on my computer, in my phone. Happy and grateful, happy and grateful, happy and grateful, I'm happy and grateful. And I say that even when, at the moment that I was saying it, something was going on. That's just my choice. But Stephen, what about no? What happens if no? I decide how I feel. And I want to feel happy and grateful. Sometimes people want to actually debate me on whether I should do that. But Stephen, shouldn't you have balance in your life? I want to experience all the emotions in life. Well, first of all, go get them. But I have a feeling that most people, including me, experience enough challenges, enough bad times that I don't have to go searching. And I've experienced enough of those and will experience enough of those that I don't have to go searching for them. They're out there everywhere, all day, every day. But that's just not the way I do it. It's just not. So I know it was a long answer to your question. Forgive me for going on my little happiness rant. But that's all I do. When I interact with people, and I interact with a lot of people every single day, most of them strangers, directly, and just being close enough to hear what they're talking about and feel their vibration. It's amazing how much people complain. And I'm not saying that they're not going through challenges. I'm not saying that everything that they're talking about is not quote unquote true. I'm just saying that I feel the emotions that I speak. I learned that during my retail days, standing behind a counter, having people come at me basically all day, every day, asking me how I'm doing, because you're retail, so you're greeting people all the time. And I used to say good. I used to say, "Oh, I'm doing great." And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, I just decided to start going over the top with a positive response. I'm amazing. I'm outstanding. I'm magnificent. I am fantastic. Man, I am fired up. And every single time, I do it every single day, all day, every day. I've been doing it for a long time now. 20 years, 30, I don't know. That piece. And every time I give that type of reaction, give that type of response to how am I doing, It catches people off guard. It catches their attention. It makes them feel better. And it makes me feel better. No matter what I'm going through at the time, that I say I'm amazing. Because a lot of times I've said I am outstanding, and I wasn't doing outstanding before those words came out of my mouth. But I always felt better. And then somewhere along my journey, I realized that I feel the emotions that I speak. If I feel the emotions that I speak, and I do, how do I want to feel? Because all I have to do is speak those emotions and feel as if I'm telling the truth. And I feel that way. It is a beautiful thing. I just wish that I was going to say more people, but I'll think bigger. I just wish that everybody could feel how I feel. Because make no mistake, if I was to search for the challenges in my life, the things that aren't going so great, the disappointments, the not so positive, I could make a list that would continue to the end of time. But I choose not to focus on those things or those feelings. And it goes hand in hand with what I have discovered to be the purpose of my life. You've heard it before, I'll tell you again. And that is to create a legacy of happiness, health, and success for generations of my family by empowering others to do the same for theirs while positively impacting the lives of millions of people directly and indirectly, helping them feel better, believe bigger, and achieve more. I could talk about that for days. Happiness, health, and success. Why do I start with happiness? Because when you're happy, everything else falls into place, even over health. Because studies have proven, I'm nowhere near the physician, but studies have shown that people who are happier feel better and maybe even heal faster. Happiness, health, and success. Creating a legacy of happiness, health, and success. When I'm able to do that, I will have lived a good life. And then on the end of that, helping people feel better, believe bigger, and achieve more. I believe that is the purpose of my life. Every single interaction I have with another human being, whether it is nonverbal or not, whether it's face-to-face or not, my goal is to make them feel better, believe bigger, and achieve more. It's a beautiful thing. Forgive me for rambling.